Hi, I'm Leon Lovelace, and this is Unstoppable Force. I got a news story for you, and it's about the NSA report on the Russian hacking. I'll also talk about some other stuff, but I haven't really done a news story on the Russian hacking, and it's on purpose. It's because I wanted to, wait and gather a lot of information to see if it was bullshit, if it was legitimate, and just to really cover it all kind of in just a couple of videos and not do a series of them, because I can't spend the time to make a Russian video every week or every other week, something like that. But so far, the Russian hacking our election and Trump including Russia so far is a bunch of fucking bullshit. The evidence we have right now is that Michael Flynn, Jared Kushner, possibly Jeff Sessions, maybe a couple other people in Trump's administration, contacted Russian officials at some time or another before the election. It didn't disclose it whenever they were questioned about it. So that was the biggest problem, is that they were supposed to disclose this information and they didn't. So of course that's problematic, but that doesn't prove that, there was any hacking or overthrowing of the election. Another issue was that Paul Manafort, the Trump's campaign manager, I think his first campaign manager was Paul Manafort. Paul Manafort was found to be a former lobbyist for the Russian government. So when he was running Trump's campaign, he wasn't a lobbyist for the Russian government at that time, but he had lobbied for them previously. So even though that was incredibly corrupt and very unethical for him to not disclose that he was a lobbyist for the Russian government, he still did it. So he should get in big trouble. He should actually really be arrested and charged for not disclosing, campaign or other election information that could be credible to, running an election, that kind of stuff. So TYT, the main show, they did a story on that a little while ago. And also Rex Tillerson, who's the CEO of ExxonMobil. He's the Secretary of State. And it just happens to be that, well, of course it doesn't just happen to be that Russia was trying to get an oil deal done with ExxonMobil beforehand, and they'd gain around maybe $1 billion in revenue. I'm not sure about profits, but I think they'd get $1 billion of revenue if they were able to approve a oil deal with ExxonMobil. So that seemed very suspect, but that also looked like it was more of a personal corruption thing with Trump and his administration, that maybe Trump himself was trying to get paid by the Russian government. Not that Russia did anything illegal to overthrow elections. And then also this NSA report comes out from the Intercept. I didn't read the article for the Intercept yet, but I watched a couple of videos about it, and I read the NSA report, and so far it's just a bunch of bullshit. They don't talk anything that reveals that Russia hacked any election machines or anything like that, or were actually able to change votes in the election machines, something like that. Plus, also did a video similar to this earlier, like I think maybe a month or a couple weeks after the election, when Jill Stein, she was able to raise enough money to have votes recounted in Michigan, Wisconsin, and Pennsylvania, because reports were showing that the exit polling wasn't matching up with the results. So that's problematic right there, because when that happens, of course, it's not going to be exact, but if your exit polls are way off compared to what the results are, that's a sign of corruption right there. And I think one of the states did get recounted. I think it's Wisconsin, but my video showed about, or I talked about in my other video, that a federal judge he stopped the recounts in the other two states. So it's either that judge didn't think there was any evidence about any Russia hacking was going on, so we didn't need to recount the votes. Or, of course, it could be that he's in on it, and that's why he didn't want the votes recounted. But without any evidence of that, it's not really very likely. So far, it's just there's no evidence of it, so that's why he stopped it. I think it's also just problematic anyway, because the exit polling and the results aren't close. We really need to look at it, because it's really not a big deal to verify or to double check to make sure any election results are accurate, because that's problematic when we make errors and we have one politician getting in power over another, especially if they have drastic views and drastic different policies they're going to implement. Like if there's a progressive, going against a conservative person or conservative. So I'm going to put a link for this report too, but I'm going to read some of the important stuff that was in this report. But here's one notification that's in here. It says that information in this report is provided for intelligence purposes only, but may be used to develop potential investigative leads. No information contained in this report, nor any information derived therefore, may be used in any proceeding, whether criminal or civil, to include any trial, hearing, or other proceeding before any court, department, agency, regulatory body, or other authority of the United States without the advance approval of the Attorney General and or the agency of department. So, of course, this report cannot be used as is right now for anything meaningful, like any criminal or civil court case. So that right now already just makes it seem like it's just a fucking propaganda piece that they made. Try to keep stirring up how, Russia hacked the election, so let's keep distracting about, let's talk about Russia, so then we could make sure we keep hiding how the DNC was fucking corrupt and cheated the Democratic primary voters out of Bernie Sanders being the Democratic nominee instead of Hillary Clinton. And people wonder why I'm in the fucking Green Party. 'Cause I'm tired of that fucking bullshit. And then one thing they do in this report is they say Russia General Staff Mean Intelligence Directorate actors, whatever parts blocked out, execute cyber espionage operation against a named U.S. company in August 2016. But they don't specify which company. If they hacked us, no doubts about it, name the company that they hacked. This is important information that the public should know. Is which organization did the hacking, or which individuals did it, and which companies or which individuals got hacked. At the very least, we need to know this information. So it's against a named U.S. company. They don't want to specify, evidently to obtain information. They didn't do it to obtain, but probably to obtain information on elections-related software and hardware solutions. According to information that became available in April 2017. The actors, not naming someone specifically, the actors likely used data obtained from that operation to create a new email account, launch a voter registration theme, spear phishing campaign targeting U.S. local government organizations. Or it goes on some more. In October 2016, the actors also created a new email address that was potentially used. It wasn't used. They don't have evidence. They're not showing any documents that these actors actually offered election products and services. They potentially did this, presumably to U.S.-based targets. Could have been different targets, but we presume it's U.S.-based targets. Lastly, the actors sent test emails to two non-existent accounts, ostensibly associated with absentee balloting, presumably the purpose of creating those accounts to mimic legitimate service. They didn't create them with the purpose of creating those accounts to mimic services, but presumably to do so. And they don't put specific email addresses that were hacked. They just say U.S. email address 1, U.S. email address 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, for U.S. company 1. Says the blank right here, says the blank actors, because it's marked out, were probably trying to obtain information associated with election-related hardware and software applications. Later on it says, and what potential data from the victim could have been exfiltrated. However, it was likely that at least one account was compromised. They don't have definite answers on any of this shit. It's just all likely, probably, potentially. Later on it does show that they actually give specific email addresses to what the actors could have created. But it's just looking like it's just a lot of bullshit about how these potential Russian actors potentially created these email addresses to do all this and potentially steal information to provide services, election products and services that they didn't. Nothing specific, just generalizing that this is what could have happened, but they're not showing evidence that it did happen. So far, still a lot of fucking bullshit.